Welcome to the Dave Palma Show, the podcast that revives, restores, and awakens your innermost capabilities.
You have the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail?
I love what I do. When you love what you do, you want to be the best at it.
Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
Find your path to success through the journey of those who have succeeded. And now, your host, Dave Palma.
Hi, welcome back to the Dave Palma Show. And with me in this episode, I have someone who is a career coach and expert in the hidden job market, Anish Majumdar. Welcome to the Dave Palma Show.
How are you? How are you, Dave? I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks. I'm very, very, very busy, man. I'm lucky to still be doing these podcasts and being inundated trying to get these out, but
yes,
trying to wear many hats. So as I mentioned,
and being a dad and having a family is kind of five hats right there, So
exactly, yeah. So a lot going on for me.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Oh my gosh, the same. My wife and I are dads, are parents to three kids. 9, 6, and 4, and
right. Yeah,
I'm trying to run the business and
just moved to a new office as well. That's busy.
Yes, that's right. Moved to the new offices, and what I found is when it comes to career stuff, no matter how accomplished you are, it does a number on people, and so a huge part of my work, honestly, is oftentimes being a voice of calm, a voice of, hey, Dave, just remember that last job that you had there, that's not representative of the 20 years of experience that you have. So, a lot of it is literally bringing people back in some sense to a recognition or perhaps a first-time recognition of what their true worth is, which sometimes doesn't come out until you're in between, until you're at a fork in the road where there isn't an easy job or, an easy relationship.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll come into jobs and careers and stuff like that because that's basically what you do. And I'd like to find out how you got into it. Before we do that,
of course.
Tell us about your humble beginnings yourself and how you got into all this and where you started in life yourself.
Well, I'm probably I'm maybe no one is more surprised of where things ended up than me. I grew up in Montreal, Canada. I've
been there before.
Oh yeah, good. So I live in upstate New York now.
I've been there as well. Lots of times.
So Dave, you've been around everywhere. I mean, this is the best.
I've been around.
We will never get the blank look when we bring up a place. You have a reference point. So I grew up in that cold, and my parents who came from India were not familiar with that.
I've been to India as well.
Oh, very good, very good.
New Delhi though, only New Delhi, I'm afraid. So only your capital.
So I was kind of, raised in a pretty traditional household. And for me, the thing that kind of, in some sense, put it out of whack, but also, made my life in some sense was, my mother became very sick with schizophrenia. And all of this structure that we had kind of fell apart, and for me, acting, which was like the first sort of, I've worn many hats, acting and being a film and TV actor was the first sort of thing that kind of got me out. And then, as I was trying to survive and trying to publish and trying to make a name for myself in magazines, etc., I started acting and writing and adding in freelance journalism, etc. And then in the midst of all of this, as a sideline, quite frankly, I mean, literally as a sideline, people started to hear like, hey, you know what? You should work with this guy. The way he sees you and the way that you can look at this is a little bit differently, right? And so I was doing that honestly to make money for a couple of years acting and journalism was, and specifically making it as a writer, which is what the dream was that brought me out of Montreal to New York and where I met my wife. That was the dream, This career coaching was never really part of the plan, but here's the thing that I find very surprising, and it's something that I try to tell the people I work with a lot. It's not your job to have a perfect plan, and God help you if the outcome of your life is exactly what Dave Palma's plan is. God in life should give you more than what you did. It should give you surprises. And this is what I found is that in working with this sideline, maybe it's because up until that point, I never thought of it that way, but being an actor, I generated opportunities in an entrepreneurial way my whole life, right? I have no respect for corporate America or any of that stuff, right? So when I started to see all these people who'd played a different game, who'd done all the right things, who still got messed over, who still got screwed over, moms got getting screwed over, dads, people like us getting tossed out with after years and years of promises and not knowing how to recover, because they'd spent their life building up their skill set, but you don't know. The truth is, Dave, for most people, if I were to come and take your job away, which I could do relatively easily, you could make all the promises you want. You could have graduated from the greatest schools, be affiliated with the greatest companies. You have no control over when you're actually going to get hired, when that offer is going to come, how easily and abundantly, which means that in most cases, you're not going to tell that toxic boss what's up. You're not going to actually advocate for that project, that initiative that you want. Your hands are like this. And so it got me pissed off. And I didn't know whether there was going to be an answer to that or not. And I staked literally my family's future financially and otherwise on 5 years of serving people in this way, but also learning alongside every entrepreneur, every coach who could help me fill in the blanks. He said, look, hidden job market, whatever you want to call it, let's just call it this way. Most opportunities that are going to be perfect for you are not going to be found on a computer anonymously doing it. It's going to be found with you sharing your light with other people. And so if there's a way to systematically do that, you don't have to rely on these insulting, demeaning ways of trying to get a job. You can actually go to the source. You can actually dialogue like an equal, not a job seeker. It clicked after about 5 or 6 years, and what we've taught now is a system for getting out of this thing, for diversifying and allowing yourself to have more choice. My dream was always, when I was trying to support myself and my family, the worst fear I had was, man, they bet on the wrong horse, because I have so much to offer and I'm just getting killed by this weird game that I don't understand. And being able to take people, deserving people across the spectrum who are sick and tired of that and say, look, you don't actually have to do that. Like, there's a reason I walked away from being an actor. And the reason was, as much as it filled up my heart and soul, I couldn't spend the rest of my life waiting for a bunch of freaking white people to create my perfect role. Do you understand? I had to tell my own story or it was never going to be told. And as a professional, it's time to stop chasing third-party stuff, chasing third-party careers, all these sad little ideas of what your dream is, and it's time to start investing in yourself. Like, what's Dave Palma's process? Like, all of this work that you've had, this whole journey, what's your way of moving something forward that only you have? This is a key part of getting free of all of this stuff, And so I know it's a long answer, but I do, in some ways that I feel like I'm a general who's been co-opted into a battle for the last 12 plus years. You know what I mean? And
is that how long you've been coaching? Is it 12 plus years? Is it?
Yeah, 12 plus years, which I cannot, it's amazing how time flies, 12 plus years of working this out and holding people's hands and fighting it out. And just, above all, what I found is we get hung up on logistics, but truly this is a mindset and mentality piece. And that's what no one wants to talk about, is that your self-identity and self-belief is going to take a hit in this journey, no matter what. That's fine. That's a part of getting something better in your life. But it's very painful if you're trying to do all of this and there's no room of acknowledgement for that, right? Like, in the normal way of getting ahead, there's no room for your humanity. There's no room for your making mistakes. There's no room for you to truly get to know someone. You're so pressured into doing this in a transactional way that you compromise yourself right out of the gate. And I did this myself, where I felt like I was screaming to like make myself heard for these big companies and all of this stuff, when all along there were so many people there that I could start helping, start getting to know, start doing this. I just truly didn't know how, and I didn't come from my family comes from a different generation, and I don't think I'm alone in this, It's, the word networking is really weird, the word, and certainly, talking to a CEO, which I've done now many times, or talking to a Fortune 50 CEO, which I've done many times now, as an equal in my own right, these were impossible things. But that's the thing. It's like, we do live in a world where those hierarchies have largely broken down. And if you understand how to send different signals, no one is out of reach anymore. The pain that people are experiencing in companies is so great, right? It's so intense that there's no more room for me to only trust the people in the country club, the people that I know, the people who went to Vassar or what the heck, I'm using there. The pain is so intense that what's going to be required is, do you understand how to build a relationship with me? Do you understand how to get to the point? Do you understand how to get to work instead of like asking for permission, right? To talk to me or to help, right? These are things that I discovered through learning with others and also through trial and error, like understanding like, oh, the reason I lost out on that offer is I was waiting for them to follow up with me and have a thing when literally we have it identified here. The right response for me is, Dave, I'm not going to indulge more of your questions right now because what you and your team right now need is to actually do this, right? That's what I can do for you as an expert. That's what needs to happen right now, right? Yeah. So it took a long time for me to sort of break out of this sort of good student way of thinking and kind of adopt a new way, but it's been really exciting and I love nerding out about it. And the normal professional who might be listening to this, you have so much more power and options than you think, and like the biggest like lie and illusion in some sense, right, is the fact that you don't. Just when, like right now, with all of this tumult that's going on in global markets, this is an optimal time to up level dramatically, right? But the thing is, the message, right, if you listen to it, is keep your head down. Don't make any sudden moves. You don't know what's going to happen. Well, uncertainty for companies is opportunity for individuals, right? Yeah. And it's a big part of this is understanding that it's like, okay, the rules of what's going to work for me is completely different than like big companies and industries. Like I can be radically successful in up and down swings. Like I don't have to look at the IT industry and say it's in contraction or go, honey, we're in contraction. It's not like that, Yeah, it's been interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a great, interesting introduction to the question, asking the question for me. I must admit, and it just fills me in quite well with lots of information to go where we want. So basically, you moved to New York after doing your acting and journalism, and where exactly did the transition happen? Where you thought, oh, I'm going to be a career coach, or did it happen slowly? I know you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
That, there wasn't a plan for it, but
no, there was no plan for it. But I will tell you that this was probably the first time in my life where the calling didn't come from a vision inside. It came from a need and an idea to say, look, this is a tear in the universe I can start sort of weaving in. To tell you the truth, I still look at myself as an artist first. That's the way that I approach life. I moved at 26 to New York as an illegal immigrant. I'm from Canada, but I had no working papers, nothing. I was literally giving out flyers and working Craigslist jobs, right? So it seems comical in some sense to me that guy would be the one who's sort of guiding executives, leaders, management, and all of that. But
it's the experience, isn't it? It's your experience of how you got through these things, isn't it?
And also, like, I never got really fully sucked into the matrix. You know what I mean? Like, I spent my life, no matter how humble it is, like I've been like brutally suffered from, depression, anxiety, finance, all of this stuff in my life. But the thing is, I'm fine with doing that. I'm not fine with having some boss I don't understand. I'm not fine with doing work that I don't understand where it actually impacts. I'm not fine with a bunch of corporate BS. I'm not fine with any of that. So that's the thing. And I worked my entire life out of that, right? To say, look, you can be a lone wolf. You can do this your own. It's not about being gigantically successful. In some ways, that's a mental trap as anything else. You can have a tiny following, a tiny independent platform, and have more work than you'll know what to do with for the rest of your life, right? I knew that firsthand. So when people came and said, oh, I'm not ready to do any of this a different way because I'm an entrepreneur, I could say, great, neither am I, right? I'm not. Yeah. Right? I'm just someone who's looking after my family and who has tested it enough to know this is the fast path for you. Okay. Yeah. Not being anonymous, actually putting yourself out there. Let's talk about it. The number one thing holding back most people, we have forgotten the fact that you have a right as a human being to get to know other people. You have a right to talk to other people. Okay. You don't have to cower in your home and you don't need to ask somebody else for permission for that. That's the lie, man. We're human beings. Listen, like, I'll know in my 20s, I spent about 2.5 years going through a period of insane isolation and depression. I nearly killed myself. So I will tell you, we die without other people. And yet we're here in a vulnerable time in our lives, plinking away on a computer alone because we feel ashamed. How about we tell our wife and our husbands what's going on? How about we let them in?
Yeah.
How about we say, hey, I need help? The people in your life, you don't have to like pitch them. Just ask them for help. Respect them enough to help them, right? It's not, we use things like automation now, LinkedIn automation, all of that, but the core principles, right, are things that we understand this, but we've forgotten it, too many years dealing with HR and third-party crap and not being courageous. I'll say it, okay? It's time, like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. Everyone has to have ownership now. From now on, there's no more. Forget about trusting your boss, third party. Forget about trusting the Dave Palma show as your number one thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to stand on your own 2 feet. There is no third party that's going to do it for you. So when are you going to figure this out? Is it going to be now when we're talking? Is it going to be a year from now when you have a year less energy? Is it going to be 5 years from now? There's no easier time to do this. So like,
do it now.
Listen, I'm just telling you, the whole thing with automation and all that, people are screaming about, oh, our jobs are taken away. It's happening in a very evil kind of way. And the way it's happening is across all industries, right? Companies are pulling away money and resources from traditional hiring because that way of hiring also hasn't worked for them. And what they're quietly doing is pumping money into internal staff incentivization, right?
Well,
so if you're a part of my company,
Google's got rid of a load of staff across the
world. Exactly.
But they know what they're doing with automation, don't they?
But they need people, right? Like their resources are there. But what they're figuring out is the same thing that we're figuring out on the other side, which is we have to solve this problem a different way. So what they're doing now is, if you're part of, let's say, Google or another high-tech company's executive leadership branch, one thing I'm going to tell you when you start is Dave, we have vulnerabilities here in ops. We have vulnerability in AI. We have vulnerability in global market development, especially in China. One of the big reasons we brought you in here is because of your pre-existing network. As you're developing and getting your feet wet here, we would like to expect and we would like to rely on you as in some cases a bit of a source for new talent here, and that is being followed up with money, that is being followed up with fast tracking, and it's being followed up very crucially with fast tracking the individuals, right? So if you're part of the executive suite and you say, listen, stop looking out for talent development out there. I know someone, Anish, I'm going to try to get you on his books. Stop with like the job posting questions. Just listen to what he has to tell you, right? And if there's openings there for you to work together, do it, right? But that is a core part of value expression at the high level. Now, can you tell me, did you learn that growing up? I didn't learn it growing up, dude.
No.
I didn't learn that there's a whole ecosystem of people out there who are sometimes 50 times better capitalized than you, more successful, and you don't need to be like them. You can be you. You just have to take 1 or 2 extra steps there, man. That changed my whole life. It changed everything, because I could finally stop trying to get my identity from third-party things. And I could be like, look, I got some people in my life. I got you in my life. I got this person. I got this person. What can I do to help your mission? What can I do to add value to what you're going on? How can I help expand your audience? How can I help you refine your message? Can I help you be a mind in terms of how you're branding and positioning yourself, let's say, right? These are ways. This is how we solve this problem, and this is how we truly create massive abundance, and our whole job in some sense is to help people feel comfortable diversifying in that way, so they can start, opening up a little bit of that stuff in a way that feels safe to them.
No, that's very interesting. Well, you're a career coach, particularly specializing, from what I've read here, in the hidden job market.
Yes, that's right.
What exactly does that involve? And what is a hidden job market?
Yes, it's a very hidden job market, secret job market. It goes by a couple of words. A visual is probably the easiest way to imagine it. So imagine that there is a big wide funnel, and it's sort of like going like a funnel does to a very tight point. Okay.
Yeah.
So on the other side of the tide point is what we might call an offer, right? Most people, because they're only looking at the postings, what they're looking at are the things that are end stage in that funnel. In other words, the pain that you're looking at through these job postings, most of which are notoriously inaccurate, by the way, it's old pain. So they've tried to solve it in all likelihood, okay? They've tried to hire internally, they've tried to move it out, and every time they've gone out, because they haven't succeeded, they've added new things onto the qualifications. That's why you'll see these nonsensical Dr. Seuss-like job postings where you're like, who the hell is this person? Like a 50-year-old straight out of college who's like gonna be paid an intern salary, right? So this like happens over and over again because it's getting older. But here's the thing, talking about the full funnel.
Yeah.
All offers is pain that is identified at a company or in a client or someone else, and a mutual commitment to say, yes, I need to seriously solve this at a particular level. And yes, Dave is the only person who's going to do that. So that can emerge. And the pain that we're talking about, you can like who identifies this thing first and who aligns to it in a credible way is going to be the one who's going to get this offer. And what we found is that if you can allow yourself to say, okay, instead of just only looking at this visible 10%, right? If we can look at that hidden 80%, 90% at the executive level, if we say, look, if I can start not just pursuing this, but if these are the companies on my dream list, what are the high-level people who are most feeling the pain of my offer? What are ways that I can build relationships with them? What are ways that I can start what we call assessing on the phone, which means you're not networking, right? What you're doing is you're using a different value prop to have a conversation that says, hey, here's what I'm experiencing in the market. Here's what I'm noticing talking with leaders like you as well, by the way. Tell me what you're experiencing with your people. Tell me what's going on there. If you're interviewing, you can do the same thing, right? Stop with the sliding an interview, a resume over and waiting, right? You're the expert. So you should have questions yourself. You should be directing this conversation. And if you don't know what to ask about, ask the really jaw-droppingly awkward things, that you would actually need to know if there was real money involved. Treat the first interview that way, right? Your whole job with an interview or getting to know someone is to identify those 2 or 3 things that are keeping them up at night. It can be different for everyone. But once I understand not what you're hiring for, right? Or what your team is for, but once I understand, Dave, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep and you go to the bathroom and you look at yourself in the mirror, I want to understand that self-talk. I want to understand what that is. For a lot of people, it's like, look, I'm the man. I'm making unbelievable amounts of money. But you know what the truth is? I had to lay off 30% of my staff. So I feel like a failure, because that was the only reason that I took this job, really, right? So that's what I need to understand, right? I need to get to the truth of what is actually going on there, right? And we need to give ourselves license to have that kind of a professional conversation. People will give us that license, but we have to dare to say, okay, do you mind if we get real? Do you mind if we not just talk about, what happened in my background 5 years ago, but could I ask you what the relevance is? It can be as simple as that, but it can change the whole room. You know what I mean? And it can change the whole tenor of the kind of dialogue you have.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a very interesting theory there. The 80%.
So that's the 80%. And so it's basically just a way of describing the full gamut there, right? So for every job posting you see, X that by 10 or 15, right? That's an easy benchmark way to think about it, right? And not just that, understand that there's a ton of roles and offers that are being created every day that were not there. There's a ton of stuff. Like I've got priorities right now. Like I've got like 6 or 7 priorities as someone who runs his own business, right? In any of those priorities, if you were to build a relationship with me, marketing, have a conversation with me. You were able to have that back and forth, and you were able to say, hey, Anish, I see the marketing challenges here. Here's a way to solve this that I think is going to be the right way. Here's the wrong way. And if we get started, here's how 6 months from now, a year from now, the reason why you're doing this business is more like that business through this way. I want to align with that vision. This is what I want to do. Dude, you've done me the greatest favor on planet Earth, okay? If I can avoid going through the hell of hiring an external recruiter, that's 160% average. To hire someone at the executive level costs a company on average 160% of that first year salary, right? So that's what it costs me just to have someone say, hey, here's the company, a bunch of people are good people. And I'm like, oh God, who the hell are these people? Like they had no better way. They couldn't care less about my company, right? They have no real entrance. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's better for everyone, but we have to feel comfortable doing it. When I coach people, we do our best to make sure that each and every one of these things are firing in a stronger way, and actually serving them. But anyone can do it. It starts with, I think, dissatisfaction, or at least some kind of a thing inside of yourself that says, you know what, darn it, I do actually deserve better than this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, forget about me being a career coach, okay? Forget about the fact that we have an interview right now.
Yeah.
Can we just say that to anyone listening, maybe your life as like 1 in 7 trillion, I think that's the odds that you were born on this planet. Maybe that odds and maybe that thing meant that you were meant for something better than looking at a dumb computer screen and killing yourself trying to align with job postings that I don't, as an owner, don't even care about anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to start there. Like you can't just say, look, I want to get out of that and I want every answer and all of that. Even the people that we work with, we have to tell them, listen to me, the system works. It works for everyone who implements it, but you have to do a heck of a lot of work here. You know what I mean? Like you got to challenge a heck of a lot of stuff and know it's not just other people that were the reason for your career faults. Part of it is the fact that your self-belief is crap. Part of it is the fact that you did that to yourself at that last job, by the way, right? It's not rocket science, right? But it's time to be courageous here. Like enough with this watching TV method of getting ahead, enough of that. And if it doesn't work for you, I'll say it. I don't even know why you're listening to this show. It seems to me that the best takeaways you're going to get from this are people who are actually plugged in. I certainly don't want to work with or network with a bunch of mouth breathers. I want to work with people who are committed, who have a point of view. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with my point of view. Yes, you just have to have a point of view, right? And that's what we've been trained not to have. We've been trained to be generic, right? To say anything you want. Stop with that. Have a point of view, because that's where trust comes from, right? It doesn't come from you telling me I can be anything. It comes from you telling me, hey, Anish, stop wasting your time on 80% of this. Focus on this 20. I'm willing to stake my reputation that that's the way forward. Great. Thank you. Here's some money. Here's the offer. Let's go. You've just saved me like 8 months of grief, Dave. You understand? Like you've done me a favor, That's what I found, is that helping people, ultimately it's a favor. And after 12 years, this is what I keep learning, is that we think that we have to pitch and we have to sell. Ultimately, man, the world needs your help. The world needs you out there. The world is going to reward you for doing that in 100 ways that I never thought possible. I never thought that I would be married with children. I had the dumbest dream when I was in my 20s, But I grew up in a not very communicative household and not a close household. Right. So how could the dreams you have are colored by only what you've known, right? And going back to what we were talking about, this is why, when it comes to your career or anything else, all you need is a compass. All you need to know is that, hey, I'm going in a direction that makes my heart and my soul feel good. I'm living up to my ethics. But beyond that, let the surprises happen, whether it's a job you never thought, or a woman or a man or anyone that you never imagined having a relationship with, or having a family, which is I still, every day I wake up and I'm like, Anish, you moron, just don't screw this up. That's literally my mantra, we can do that. We can allow ourselves to have some fun and discover again, and not have to feel like we're always watching our back or having to make up for mistakes. I don't believe that, really there are major mistakes like that. I feel like it's just unrealized value. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a part of your story that it hurts right now, but it's only because you don't see where your journey is going to go in the next 5 or 10 or 15.
There's always another chapter, there's no, you learn from mistakes, you move on, don't you, really? And then there's another chapter, whatever way your life has gone, so
how did you
move on?
When I look at your journey as a firefighter, right, for many years, how did you deal with what I would imagine are the insane pressures that come with that? I'm always curious because, I'm curious about different people's, line of work. How were you able to survive and thrive like that? I've known a couple of firefighters in Long Island, but I'm curious about your take.
I did a sports as a sideline, and some firefighters have other things to do. You want to need to do something to take your mind off it. If it's something, if it's a hobby or something that really relaxes you, I learned meditation and mindfulness and things like that through that, as well as looking at other health. I'm not saying I'm 100% healthy and things like that, but I was around a coach literally all my life because I did sports all my life, and so I picked up all those things. You see, so for me, I learned to relax without realizing that I was bringing it into work. And yes, there was pressure, and yes, I was under pressure, and yes, I did have a lot of stress and brought home a lot of stress. But I think the other things I do in my life, I made mistakes in my life as well, but the good things I was doing in my life, not the demons, actually helped me, along the way, at least, initially before I got, almost got burned out, but I more or less went through the whole career as a firefighter, more or less did the whole term. So
wow,
yeah, but that's how I dealt with it. And to be honest, that's now how people are being taught, because there's lack of sleep. Sleep's a big thing, and
yes,
obviously things like meditation now is not a kind of, you got to do this, and it's not a freaky thing anymore. It's like it's a very normal thing to do. Breathing is normal, isn't it? And at the end of the day, if you understand what it's doing to you, things like that. So, I was doing stuff like that, and obviously I had to breathe when I was doing my sports. Otherwise, I'd definitely be fainting or have a heart attack on the sports pitch, so things like that. So anyway, that's how I dealt with it. But other people have other ways. And, I brought in stuff that people bring in coaches for, irrespective of their hobbies or whatever they do, which takes your mind off it. You've got other social networks. It's good to network in your job, like you mentioned about networking, but it is good to have that cooperative collaborating, network, if you like, to take the stress off you. But also outside work. Also,
one thing that I think anyone can do, whether if you're going through any kind of a really stressful, high stakes kind of period, in your life, that I never really gave myself much credence for earlier on, but I wish I had. Interactions with what they call like weak ties. So people who you don't know necessarily very well, like small things like that nice interaction at the coffee shop, or, I took the elevator up here and there were these construction workers, and this freaking elevator was stopping at like 6 floors before, but I didn't mind because the conversation was so like gloriously wrong and filled with swear words. I was having a great time, these like little interactions, they've shown that those are a powerful de-stressor, right? And when you're trying to create something better for yourself, or you're in some kind of a transitional point in your life, it's really, really, really key that you look and be truly the best friend for yourself at that point. What I found with high performers especially is that the very thing that makes you brilliant at what you do, when that beast doesn't have prey and it doesn't have all this stuff to do, oftentimes it'll like turn its head at you, and sometimes it'll start taking a swipe at you as well, and that doesn't help. That's not going to help you now, And so I truly I've learned this through painful experience. Bribe yourself, be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself. If you have to spend more resources than you thought, do it as an investment, not in your next job, but in this career that you're building, right? Like that's a legacy that you're building for yourself, right? Yeah. So treat yourself with that degree of kindness, and I think what you'll find is whatever you thought like, oh, it's too expensive, it's too much, when you actually do it and you start to feel like, I need a little bit of this reverse ballast. I'm about to go into battle here. You know what I mean? I need to have that sense. You'll always feel that it's worth it, and you'll always feel happy that you did it on the other side.
Excellent, Anish. Well, I know that I said it'll be about 20-25 minutes, but we'll have to push on. I could talk to you forever about a lot of stuff.
That's my bad. That's my bad.
I'm sure I'll have you back on the show again at some stage, but. In the meantime, how can people find out more about your coaching, career coaching business, and where can they find you? I don't think there's anything else. You haven't got any books or anything out or anything like that.
No books right now. There's two interesting things I'd like to share. One would be helloanish.com. That's our kind of headquarters online. So if you want to go kind of deeper down the rabbit hole of, hey, how do I address all of these mechanics, interviewing, negotiation, etc., from this kind of different point of view to get some different results, you can go there. The other thing that I would say is tap the hidden job market /ASAP for those people who are like, yeah, I want to start implementing this. If you go there, it's our free masterclass. We just wrapped it a couple of weeks ago, and it'll teach you the exact full strategy. We've had people who, yes, if you want to get in touch with us afterwards, you can do it after the class. We've had also people who haven't worked with us, who've taken that learning, used it immediately right now to get better outcomes. So LinkedIn would also be the third place. If you put in Anish, A-N-I-S-H, career, I'm sure there's not going to be many people who pop up, but probably my smiling face and my weird hair will probably be there. So don't be afraid to do that. And brother, I blame you for going over because you are so easy to speak to and you've got such a wonderful warmth and energy to you that
thanks.
This is the highlight of my day, if not my week.
That's all right. I'm sure someone will turn it on in their car and listen to it and say, yeah, there was some warmth here. But anyway, Anish, we'll have to fly now because we've got literally going to be cut off by Zoom, actually.
All right, my friend.
So, great talking to you today. And really great job you're doing. And I felt motivated through the whole lot. You made my interview very easy. I didn't have to ask any questions, literally, only a few. So fantastic. And I'm sure the people will be really enlightened and motivated with what you had to share today with my audience. Anish, thanks a lot for coming on the show and sharing.
Same here, Dave. Today. Thank you, my friend. Be well.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening. And remember, if you want to support what we do, then share, subscribe, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. Or head over to my website, davepalmer.com, and click on Rate Show. Well, that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next episode of The Dave Palmer Show.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.